Now, the last couple of years have been a rather challenging one for Rediffusion Y&R, to say the least. With first one of its flagship clients, Colgate, walking away to Bates, and then its largest client, Airtel, a 400 crore account, ending its 15-year-long relationship, moving to JWT. Both accounts moving into WPP agencies, despite Y&R also a WPP agency holding a 26% stake in Rediffusion. The moves were clear, and the industry was abuzz with stories that Martin SORRELL was moving swiftly due to Rediffusion's promoter ARUN NANDA's unwillingness to sell out. So, when Peter Stringham, the global CEO of Y&R, was in town, I decided to catch up with him and chat about where the relationship currently stands, how they plan to break the stalemate, and what Y&R's future plans in India are. Listen in. Thank you so much for joining us, Peter. Truly a pleasure to have you on the show.
It's a pleasure to be here.
So what brings you to India?
I'm here because we're introducing BAV, Brand Asset Valuator, which is our proprietary tool at Y&R Group. Developed 17 years ago now, so it is, if not the oldest, certainly one of the oldest brand studies in the world, and has been hugely successful for us. And this is the first time we've done a complete BAV in India. So India now joins the pantheon of countries at the top of that project. So it's very exciting. It's going to be introduced to a number of very select clients.
How would you define your relationship with Rediffusion?
Oh, it's a great partnership. It's a very old partnership. It goes back long before me. And ARUN has been a wonderful friend and a great help for me understanding this market. It's one of the oldest partnerships that Y&R established around the world. I think it was one of the first markets they were interested in. And over those years, it's gone through a lot of changes, but it continues to really develop well.
I'm really talking about the relationship and the partnership between Y&R and Rediffusion, and you know we all know that there's been a stalemate going on for a while. So my pointed question to you is: WPP is more than interested in buying out, Mr. ARUN Nanda and his partner's share,
right,
so that you can get full control. Where does that stand today?
Well, number one, we're always interested in any really good agency, and it's a really, really good agency, so why wouldn't we be interested for all the right reasons? But that hasn't changed. We don't think of it as a stalemate, it's just what it is. There have been markets where we've been in this position for a long, long time, decades, and finally things have changed. The only way I can tell you when it'll change is ask Mr. Nanda, because it's entirely his decision. After all, he's the majority owner. So
we've heard, very, very strong rumors from people, inside the circuit saying that, Mr. Nanda has actually had long conversations with Martin SORRELL during his recent trip to London, and he might finally be at least, willing to have a conversation on the same. Can you, straighten those facts out for me and tell me if that's actually accurate? Is there at least a serious tone of conversation that is taking place?
Oh, I think they've always been serious. I don't think they're two very serious gentlemen, so I'm sure that they've had all kinds of serious conversations. I wasn't at those meetings in London. They've known each other, as I said, for a very long time, much longer than I've been around.
So you're supposedly in partnership with an Indian agency, Rediffusion. Mm-hmm. Despite that, we saw some really ugly turns recently.
Yes.
One, for instance, is Colgate, which has been a long-standing client of Rediffusion and have shared an excellent relationship, went to Bates. Yeah. Even globally, Colgate is, with Y&R in almost all markets. So it was very peculiar to suddenly see Colgate move to Bates. What, according to you, triggered that move?
Well, let me tell you what I can tell you about that, okay? First of all, it's not the only market where that's happened. Colgate has asked us to move the business, and in some cases it's moved outside WPP altogether. Okay. So obviously we try very hard to keep them happy and do what they want. I can't go into the reasons that they wanted to move it.
So that happened, and then we saw something even stranger. Airtel moving from Rediffusion, move to JWT, also changes the agency, but within the WPP basket. It's quite unusual. Yeah. So how would you explain that?
That was one that we were really unhappy to lose. We pitched to keep it, and we didn't.
Right, but as the man who oversees the Y&R brand, right. What do you think has gone wrong? I mean, if two really large clients have moved out,
right,
something is amiss. Now, either it can be, our own speculation would be, that it's politically motivated. There may be other reasons which I'm not familiar with, so please enlighten me.
Well, trust me, it's not politically motivated. It's about whether or not the client felt they were getting what they should be getting. Sometimes there's client politics. I don't think that was the case in this case, but I certainly see that often enough as well. So, from my point of view, and we are going through this, what can we do? The things I just talked about, what can we do to strengthen what we have here and make us better at what we do?
So tell me, during your visit to India this time, have you by any chance scheduled a meeting with the Colgate client?
No, the Colgate client is run, oh no, that's not right. I want to have them in my family everywhere we can. On the other hand, I don't get as upset, quite frankly, if they want to move the business to another WPP agency, because after all, I'm a WPP shareholder, as we all are. Colgate very much now is one of those clients, like Ford, which within the WPP world has become a global client to the point where they're almost freestanding. They're almost like an agency unto themselves. They use the resources of agencies around the world, but the decisions on that client are made independently. That's the way they want to have it run. They've been very clear with us, they want to have the full reach of WPP resources, and they want them delivered the same way Ford does, through a highly focused, highly specialized unit.
What do you think of the new Chevy deal in Commonwealth?
That's a big one. Well, marriage is from very different backgrounds, are always difficult. So I understand that there's already issues. I wouldn't be surprised if there's issues, because you try and create anything new, it's hard. It's really, really hard. We've done it in all kinds of circumstances, and birthing pains are difficult, and growing pains are even more difficult. And they're obviously at that point. It seemed to me like a big challenge. I don't know. It does seem like an unusual solution.
How fast do you see them divorce?
Gee, I would be surprised if it lasts long term. I just can't imagine, for one very simple reason. It's one thing for me to live with other parts of WPP, but as I mentioned, we're all owned the same way. We all have the same, ultimate focus. How do you do it when that's not the case? And it's one of the issues you have as a client in terms of integration.
Thank you so much, Peter. Truly a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. It was a pleasure. I really enjoyed it.